Shalom, shalom, folks. This is Elvin Israel from the Assembly of Sound Doctrine Chandler. Welcome to by Clubhouse. This will be August the 18th, 2021. And tonight we're going to revisit a topic that we talk about, often, which is the end. But what I wanted to do tonight with the end topic, I wanted to give it from two perspectives, which will be the Israelite perspective and the Christian perspective, and show how they both work hand in hand, how they intermingle. Because a lot of people look at the end times, and we know that they push it in our future. So I'm going to go through how the ancient Israelites literature alluded to the end time, and then how the ancient Christian documents alluded to the end time. Now, when I say ancient Christian documents, I'm not talking church fathers, because when the church fathers came in, they actually gave their own pretty much commentary. And they gave a commentary from their cultural aspect, which was a little bit different from the Israelites' cultural aspect. And that's how we got into more of this futurism doctrine that we even have today. But the ancient Christians, they were taking it from more of an ancient Israelite aspect and trying to leave it within the culture. So we're going to try to do that today, tonight also. So I'm going to actually start right now with this conversation. So we're going to be talking about the end times, the last days, the time of the end of the days, however you want to spill it out. We're going to talk about it and how the ancient Israelite / Christians viewed it compared, and then we can have a dialogue how we view it today. The way that this clubhouse works, I go through all of the scriptures first. I lay down the premise. I give pretty much the breakdown that the Lord has given to me. And when it's over with, then I open up the room for a discussion. So we're going to talk about the end now. Can I get Britt? Do you mind reading? We're going to be in we're going to use actually 3 books today, but the main one is going to be the Bible, the KJV or the NKJV, it doesn't matter. And we're going to be looking at 2nd Ezra. Today we're going to go through 2nd Ezra, and if you don't know what 2nd Ezra is, it's an apocryphal book. Now, the old ancient Christians who relied on the Greek Septuagint, they actually had their own style of Bible compared to the quote-unquote Israelites. The Israelites had the law and the prophets. But when the Christians, who also are Gentiles as well as Israelites, when they came and they created their nation, they had the law, the prophets, the synoptic gospels, as well as the apocrypha. And they had it all within their arsenal to explain the beginning to the end. So they had these apocryphal books in which eventually, I believe it was the Roman Catholic Church, I think they got taken out around the Nicene Council, and then I think the Roman Catholic Church tried to add it in their understanding, and that's why a lot of people don't like it right now. But besides that fact, these are old ancient Christian documents, and we're going to read it, and they actually explain some of that parabolic language that's used inside of the Synoptic Gospel, as well as the Torah and the Tanakh. So we're going to go through that today. So let's go through the visitation first. Can I get you to pull up Luke 19, and we're going to read 41 through 44. Am I picking up still?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's freezing. Can you hear me okay?
Okay, yes ma'am, I can hear you.
Okay, so Luke 19, 41 through 44. As he approached Jerusalem, he saw the city and wept over it. Oh, you want the KJV? 1 second, you guys. I'm sorry. Okay. And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it, saying, If thou hadst known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace, but now they are hid from thine eyes. For the day shall come upon thee that thine enemies shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee round, and keep thee in on every side, and shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation.
Okay, so now we have Christ. Clearly, Luke is going through a dialogue on which Christ is saying, because we know Luke wrote a witness perspective, from a witness perspective. So Luke is going through the dialogue that Christ had, pretty much talking out loud, looking at the city of Jerusalem from afar.
He must have lost reception. Let me try to bring him back in.
I'm back in. So Luke 19 would be the synoptic gospel way of Christ presenting a judgment upon the city of Jerusalem. Now, the Christians who knew about this same prophecy that Christ gave, they worded it a little differently, but speaking on the same exact subject. And we can learn a lot from these Christians, these ancient Christians, because people today get confused on exactly what Christ's statements mean. They throw it all the way in our future. And they make it be about something that it's not. We clearly see that Christ is speaking over Jerusalem. So now, let's listen to how the Christians said it in their parabolic way on the same subject. Britt, can I get you to go to 2nd Ezra 6, and we're going to read 18 through 20. 2nd Ezra 6, 18 through 20. And if you can find the revised version, the new revised version, that would be great, but you can read the other version also.
Okay, I don't know if this is revised, but this is 2nd Ezra 6, and you said 18 through 20?
Yes, ma'am.
And it said, Behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth, and will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Sion shall be fulfilled. And when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see altogether.
All right, so before we break that down, we're going to conclude that part with Revelation 6, 10 through 11.
Okay, Revelation 6, 10 through 11. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled.
Okay, so what we have in 2nd Ezra, using Luke and the book of Revelation, we got to see how these ancient Christians, how they actually combine different narratives into one story to make it fit. So we see the first thing he spoke on was the visitation. But notice, he said he was coming to visit the earth. Now, we have Christ. When Christ was speaking on it, Christ was saying he was coming to visit Jerusalem. The mindset of the parabolic language that they have been using. And we understand Jews refer to the temple as heaven and earth. They refer to the people as heaven and earth. Am I still picking up?
Yes.
Am I still picking up? Oh?
Yeah, yes, you are.
Yeah, I hear you.
Still picking up? Okay then, okay. So, did y'all hear about the temple, referring to it as heaven and earth?
Yes, sir.
Okay then, okay, good, thank you. So we see the ancient parabolic language, temple, heaven and earth. So, Christ in Luke, he's crying over Jerusalem. In 2nd Ezra, now the Christian uses the parabolic language to explain what's being said in Luke. It says, 2nd Ezra, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and visit them that dwell upon the earth. If you had known your time of visitation. So this is the same visitation. Christ was talking about the temple, idiomatic language for the temple, heaven and earth. So 2nd Ezra is talking about the temple also. And we're gonna prove that in just a second. In 2nd Ezra, it says, and will become to make inquisition of them, the people that's in earth, what they be that have hurt unjustly with that unrighteousness. So now this seems like he's talking about the whole entire planet, right? But as you read more in 2nd Ezra, it says, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away. So now, what do we do with this? The affliction of Zion. That's what Britt read in Revelation chapter 6. What was they waiting on in Revelation chapter 6? They was waiting on the number that was supposed to be martyred to be fulfilled. Of who? The Israelites. Who will be the Israelites being martyred? Those that was in Mount Zion or Sion. So that would be the affliction of Sion. The affliction of Sion had to be fulfilled. In the book of Revelation, the number of those that had to be killed had to be fulfilled. So we can see once again how the Christians in Second Ezra is taking different stories, placing them all together and making one story. So the second Ezra itself could be considered, it's apocalyptic literature, but it could be considered a Bible in itself because it hit every aspect. But let's keep going. And it says, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished. Now, we know from the book of Hebrews, what we read the other day, that the old covenant was vanishing away. Now, here, when the world began to vanish away, who was the old covenant for? Israel. So once again, it's pointing back to Israel, using all of this parabolic language to explain the story. So now, Christ had already spoke on the destruction of Jerusalem. Second Ezra has spoke on the visitation. Second Ezra has also spoke on the earth vanishing away. The book of Revelation spoke on the martyrs being martyred, and then when that be fulfilled, then something will happen. What Second Ezra is explaining. And when the world that shall begin to vanish away, that's the old covenant world, along with their temple, then I will show these tokens, these signs. The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. What is that? That's from the book of Daniel. He sat down, the books were open. That's in the book of Revelation 2, Revelation chapter 20. The heaven and earth fled away, the books were open. But notice here, the books is not open until he visits the earth, and the earth began to vanish away. In Luke, Jerusalem was going to be destroyed. In Revelation, the martyrs had to be killed. Where was the martyrs being killed at in the New Testament? In Jerusalem, as well as all over too, but mainly in Jerusalem. So this is all pointing to Jerusalem. So the visitation itself, from Luke to Second Ezra to Revelation, which all deals with the time of the end time, it was all centered around Jerusalem. So now, let's segue. Can I get Mark 13, verses 2 through 4 read?
You said Mark verses 2, verse 4?
Mark 13, 2 through 4.
Okay, Mark 13, 2 through 4. And Jesus answering said unto him, Seest thou these great buildings? There shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives over against the temple, Peter and James and John and Andrew asked him privately, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign when all these things shall be fulfilled?
Okay, so we're back at Jerusalem being destroyed again. We're back right there. He's prophesying about Jerusalem being destroyed. This is Mark's account of it. So can you read now verses 12 through 13 in Mark 13, 12 through 13.
All right, 12 through 13. Now the brother shall betray the brother to death, and the father the son. And children shall rise up against their parents, and shall cause them to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But he that shall endure unto the end, then the same shall be saved.
So you got the brothers going against brothers, fathers going against sons, and mothers going against daughters, and etc. All of this is happening during the time of the destruction of Jerusalem. And this is actually opposite of John the Baptist's ministry when he was supposed to turn the hearts back of the fathers back to the sons. Here we have the opposite going on where the fathers and the sons are fighting amongst each other. But this is happening during the visitation, during the destruction of Jerusalem. What's happening? This is a war. Chaos is happening. You got the city getting ready to be ravaged. Now you got chaos within the city. The chaos. I don't know if you all have ever been around someone when things are going bad. You know, sometimes they take their frustration out on you. When a person is having a bad day, sometimes they will indeed take their frustration out on you. So now imagine a siege happening. No food, no water, mentally frustrated, anxiety, all of these things are happening. The temple, which they say this is the only way we can talk to our God. When the temple being destroyed, now they understand that their God has fled from them. They have no one to protect them. They are given over into the hands of the army that's coming. Now, through all of that emotional turmoil, fathers and sons are now fighting, whether if it's for food, shelter, anxiety, mental stability, regardless, fathers, sons fighting, brothers fighting, daughters, mothers fighting, and etc. To give you the mind of chaos, because this is the natural state of war. So now, we're going to go back to 2nd Ezra. Can we read 2nd Ezra 6, 23 through 26? 2nd Ezra 6, 23 through 26.
All right. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape, and see my salvation, and the end of your world. And the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth, and the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning.
So now we got to unpack what the author of 2nd Ezra did there. So now notice, first thing first, you hear the trumpet blast. We know they're all too familiar when we go through Matthew 24, 1 Thessalonians, and etc. That trumpet blast. When the trumpet blasts, we know that that's a sign. Okay, also the Feast of the Trumpets being fulfilled. But we know that's a sign of to be alert. We know now war is coming. The army is there. The army is sounding their trumpet. So when the army sounds the trumpet, remember, in Mark we read, Jerusalem's going to be destroyed, and during that time, brothers fight against brothers, and all this stuff is happening within the city. Trumpet is being blown by the approaching army who's coming to destroy Jerusalem and the temple there. So now notice, Ezra, trumpet shall give off the sound, and when every man hear it, they shall be suddenly afraid. Why? Because they know the war is here. Christ called it the visitation in Luke. Ezra's called it the visit. Verse 24. And at that time, friends shall fight against one another like enemies. That's the same language as brother fighting against brother. Father fighting against son. Mother fighting against daughter. Same type of language happening when the war is approaching. And Mark, this happened when Jerusalem was going to get destroyed, or the temple, which is when the war is approaching. And notice what it says. And the earth shall stand in fear. Now, read again. Notice what it says. Every man heareth, they shall be afraid. Verse 24. The earth shall stand in fear. Parabolic language. Quoting now the people being the earth. This is found in Deuteronomy 31:32, when Moses addressed the children of Israel like heaven and earth. He called the children of Israel heaven and earth. Now, in Ezra, those children of Israel inside of Jerusalem, they are afraid, and now the parallelism that the Hebrews used and the Christians picked up, they use their parallelism to say it one way, then say the same subject another way, that said the earth stood in fear and those that dwell therein. This will all represent the people. The earth will represent the people. Those dwelling in will represent the people. All metaphors are idiomatic language for the people and the temple. That's all it is. They just say it different ways. They use it interchangeably because the people represents the temple also. And notice, the springs of the fountains shall stand still. This is a event that's causing nature to shift. Now we see this as apocalyptic literature language. We can see it in Matthew, Mark, Luke, where the sun stops shining, the stars falling from the sky, and etc. The apocalyptic language of chaos in the heavenly, chaos in nature. Here we have in the second Ezra, the springs of the fountain stand still. They stop doing what they naturally do. Chaos in nature. And in 3 hours shall they not run. 3, we know symbolic number. Verse number 25. Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape. Is that not what we find in Matthew 24, Mark, and Luke? Mark 13, Luke 17, Luke 21. Flee into the mountains when you see the army, a.k.a. the abomination of desolation spoken of, that Daniel spoke of. They shall escape. These people are fleeing into the mountains from the army. Whosoever remaineth from thee. Now, what does that put you in? That puts you in the mindset of the flood. Whoever remained after the flood was able to escape that judgment, which was Noah and his sons, the elect. Now we got the people, the elect, who see all of this destruction happen. They are the ones that's untouched, unscathed. They are the ones that escape. Just like in Matthew 24, the elect will be the ones that listen to Christ, and they will escape into the mountain, seeing the signs being displayed. Remember, they saw the signs first, and then when they saw the abomination of desolation, they fled into the mountain. Here, they see the signs first, and then they escape. Okay, so now, and the men that are received shall see it. They will be the chosen, who have not tasted death from birth. So the men who have not tasted death from birth shall survive this. Now, can you read Matthew 16, 27 through 28?
All right, Matthew 16, 27 through 28. For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his works. Verily I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste death till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom.
So now, we can't play wordplay with this taste of death thing, because the same exact way. These will be men who have not died. And we know in Matthew 16, he's talking to the disciples about them and the people that's standing around. So who do we think is the audience is, or who's been reflected upon in Second Ezra? These will be the people standing around the disciples, the other people, not the disciples, but the other people. They did not taste death. Now notice Christ said this is happening with his coming with the angels, with the rewards, with the kingdom. We don't see that in Second Ezra. It don't say nothing about angels coming. It doesn't say nothing about a kingdom coming. Second Ezra tells you that this is when the wicked people are being destroyed after the affliction of Zion has been fulfilled. So, Second Ezra put what Christ said about the kingdom coming, the angels coming, and etc., those not tasting death shall see it, with the destruction, or with the army coming, blowing the trumpet, with the destruction, with the visitation. That's when Second Ezra put it. So how can we come thousands of years later and create a different eschatological breakdown of it? How can we rely on the church fathers who pushed it further in the future, when we got the ancient Israelite documents saying it, and then we got the ancient Christian documents saying it around the same event? Nothing has changed. So we got Israel saying the coming was around the destruction of the temple. You got the apocalyptic literature left by the Christians saying the coming or the reward was given around the destruction of the temple, the destruction of Jerusalem. But there's another theological reference or teaching we can give right here. Can you read 1 Corinthians 15, 51 and 52?
All right. 1 Corinthians 15, 51 and 52. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed.
Okay, so what is Paul talking about right there? He got a trumpet being blown. He got everybody changing simultaneously. He got the dead being raised incorruptible. He got all of these things going on at one time. Now, for my literal people, we have no idea what he's talking about. It sounds like somebody's going to get some new bodies or something. We have the famous clue what's going on here if we take it literal. So now, can you also read 1 Thessalonians 4, 16 through 17?
All right. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord.
Okay, so we got the same elements right there. We got the trumpet being blown. We got the dead in Christ rising. And we got, and then according to Corinthians, then everybody's going to be changed. And then according to Thessalonians, then we're going to be in the air with the Lord. So this is the whole thing. The trump blows, the dead rise up, everybody's changed. Then we're going to be in the air with the Lord. That's the theological confusion when people take it literally. That's all that got to happen. But can you read before we go back to Second Ezra? Can you read 1 Peter 3 and 4?
All right, First Peter 3 and 4. But let it be the hidden man of the heart, in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God of great price.
Okay, read it one more time, but read it a little slower.
First Peter 3 and 4. But let it be the hidden man of the heart, in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament.
Okay, so hold on, right there. Hold on, right there. The hidden man of the heart, we know the heart is the mind. That which is not corruptible. What did he say? Paul said, those that was dead was going to raise up uncorruptible. Peter says, the hidden man of the heart, that is corruptible. So they're both talking about not something being not corruptible. Paul said the body is going to raise up uncorruptible. Peter said the hidden man of the heart is not corruptible. So when the corruption put on incorruption, it deals with the hidden man of the heart. But now, could you read, continue reading, but read it slow, the attributes of the hidden man of the heart.
Even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God of great price.
A meek and quiet spirit brings forth uncorruption, or not corruption, or uncorruptible, not being corrupted. So that meek and quieted spirit is what brings forth uncorruption. So now notice, I'm gonna hit that point in just a second. I'm not gonna even hit the point just right now. We're gonna tie it in. So now, can you read again in Second Ezra 6:26 through 28 again? Because we got the trumpets being blown, we got the dead rising incorruptible, we got everybody being changed. We stand in the air with the Most High. Let's see what all that parabolic language means to the Christians, and how the Christians use their language, their imagery, and how they draw a type of theology from it, and what it meant to them. What does that mean to them?
And the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth. And the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As per faith it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which hath been so long without fruit, shall be declared.
Okay, now can you read Ezekiel 36:26?
Sorry, my phone is freezing. Okay, Ezekiel 36:26, a new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you an heart of flesh.
In other words, Ezekiel is saying the corruption will put on incorruption. The corruption is the stony heart. The incorruption, the uncorruptible. The uncorruption that Paul was talking about was the new spirit and the new heart. Now, how do we know again this? I'm gonna go back to 2nd Ezra. It says it right here. 2nd Ezra 6. It says, let me see here. 26. And the man who received it shall see it, who have not tasted death from the birth, and the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning. What did Paul say? We all will be changed. When this corruption puts on incorruption, we all shall be changed at the final trump. What's happening here at the final trump? Everyone's heart is changed into another. Ezekiel said it another way. A new heart and a new spirit I will give you, and I will take away your stony heart. Peter said the quiet man, or the gentle man, or what was the man that he said? And Peter?
He said meek?
I think he said it was the man, he said it was the meek man.
I don't know. I might be misquoted.
In 1 Peter 3 and 4. I want to get the correct word that he said.
Let me look it up.
Whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of fading the hair. Nah, it ain't 1 Peter 3 and 4. But he that hidden of the heart, in which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit.
Oh, so I was right.
Yeah, meek and quiet spirit.
So the meek man, is that the King James Version?
Yeah, hold on, Elvin. Let me just repeat it, because Monster, you really, really low. So I just want to make sure it comes up on the recording.
Yeah, meek and quiet.
Yeah, so it says, but let it be the hidden man of the heart, in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God of great price. So a meek and quiet spirit. So that'll be that new spirit, that spirit that you put in.
Right. So, right. You got it, my brother. So the hidden man, he said, I will give you a new spirit. That's that meek and quiet spirit. He said, I will give you a new heart. That's them putting on the incorruption from the corruptible. So Ezekiel 26, Ezekiel 36:26. It was speaking about what Paul said. But who would know unless you could make the correlation from all of the other literature? Nobody knew that's what Ezekiel was talking about. But Paul, being a philosopher, being educated in Torah and Tanakh, being educated in Hellenized Judaism, and etc., Paul can say it a different way, but have the same meaning. So when Ezekiel was speaking speaking of it. Notice when Ezekiel brought it up, he's going to give them a new heart and a new mind. Then eventually, a few chapters later, he talks about the valley of dry bones when they are in their graves, and then they get the spirit, and then they wake up out of their graves with a new heart and a new mind. And then you got Paul saying at the final trumpet, the corruptible will put on incorruption. This is the same thing that Paul is saying. And in 2nd Ezra, it actually explains it even more. In 2nd Ezra, what does it say again? The heart of the inhabitants shall be turned into another meaning. But then it tells it in verse 27. Because now that corruptible has put on incorruption, and the wicked people have been destroyed. What happened? In 2nd Ezra, this is what happened. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. All of the wicked people in Israel have been destroyed. The Christians, now they have a new heart. There's no deceit in them. There's no evil in them. They are now incorruptible. But then verse 28, it explains it even more. As for faith, that's the tree of knowledge. It's the tree of life right there. That's the tree of life being there. For evil shall be put out. The tree of knowledge of good and evil. That tree is leaving. The tree of life is beginning. It's staying. As for faith, it shall flourish. That's that garden language. It shall flourish. What does it say? Corruption shall be overcome. When is corruption overcame? When is it overcome? Jerusalem's destroyed, and then the hearts of the inhabitants is changed, allowing corruption to be overcome. So when Paul is talking about this corruptible, these bodies, these people, this corruptible will put on incorruption, he's talking about a change of the mind, a change of the spirit. So when you see it in Daniel 12, this is what's happening. Many that sleep in the dirt shall arise, some to shame, some to righteousness, others to shame and everlasting contempt, and the wise will shine like the stars in the sky. What did Paul say? We will all be changed. What did Daniel say? The wise will shine like a star. What did 2nd Ezra say? The heart will be changed. All of these is different ways of saying the same thing, which is a change of the way people think when they put on Christ. When the temple destroyed, the tree of knowledge of good and evil destroyed, the law finally completed, the affliction of Zion completed. Now people will start thinking and living a different type of way based off of faith. The physical temple is gone. Christ told the woman, it's going to come a time when you worship the Father neither here in Mount Gerizim nor in Jerusalem, but you're going to worship him in spirit and truth. You're going to worship him in faith. All of the physical things that you first used to get access to me and the Father will be taken from you. So now you have no choice but to only believe, only have faith. No more things written down for you. Now you got to have the things written on your heart. You got to have a different heart, a different spirit in order. But that's what I was wanting to get with that. And it says, which have been, look right here, verse 28 again, and as for faith, it shall flourish. Remember the tree of life? Corruption shall be overcome. That's the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It brought forth death. Corruption brings forth decay, death. A stony heart. And the truth, Christ, which have been so long without fruit. That's the garden language. The tree of life, so long without fruit, shall be declared. So, all about the end of the old way, the end of the old covenant, the end of the stony heart, the end of corruption, the end of sin, the end of that law, the end of needing Moses. All of that was going to come to an end. Not the end of the world, but the end of a certain mindset, the end of an age, the end of a way of doing things. The Christians, nor did the Israelites, believe the world was ever going to come to an end. It's found in the Tanakh. The world endures, the earth endures forever. Even in Torah, when the earth was destroyed, the earth literally wasn't destroyed. It was just flooded. So nobody ever thought the world was going to come to an end. That's when the church fathers came in and did their redact and started talking from their cultural language and their ideology, and we have picked up on that.
You in the Matrix.
Learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, you breaking up. You in the Matrix.
All right.
I can hear you better now.
Okay. All I was saying is, when people look at the world we live in today and they try to make it go with the Bible, is because a lot of things happen in cycles, not prophecies, but the way that things happen, because we don't never learn from our mistakes. So it seems like the Most High had to keep putting us through the same test till we pass it. But not prophecy. Prophecy is over with. So now, am I still picking up?
Yeah, you still good. You good.
All right, I'm going to hit on one more thing, and then we can open up for a dialogue. Can someone go to Hebrews 11, 9 through 10? This is just a side.
You said Hebrews 11, 9 through 10. Right? Okay. By faith, he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which hath foundations, whose builder and maker is God.
All right, now I want to couple that with John 8:56.
John 8. You said 56?
Yes, sir.
Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it and was glad. Oh, okay. Let's see.
All right, so now we got from Hebrews to John. He said Abraham was looking for a city not made with hands. John said Abraham, according to Christ, Abraham rejoiced to see my day. So, are you on the computer, Brother Mike? Somebody on the computer.
Yeah, what you need me to look up?
2nd Ezra 3, 12 through 14, on the revised version, the new revised version.
2nd Ezra 3. Say it again. 3. And what verse?
12 12 through 14 on the revised version.
Okay. All right. And you said 12 to 13.
12 through 14.
12 to 14. When those who dwelt on earth began to multiply, they produced children and peoples and many nations, and again they began to be more ungodly than were their ancestors. And when they were committing iniquity before thee, thou didst choose for thyself one of them, whose name was Abraham, and thou didst love him, and to him only didst thou reveal the end of the times secretly by night. Wow. Wow.
So according to the older version of Ezra says, to him only you reveal thy will. But when they revised it, I guess they found new documents. It said that he showed Abraham the end time. So when he said, Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and Abraham was looking for a city not made with hands, it's because Abraham saw what transpired in the last days, or the days of the time of the end, when Christ came with his kingdom through that final judgment. So when he said, Abraham rejoiced to see my day, I think it makes sense. That's what he's talking about.
That's insane right there. That's one of them ones right there.
So that's it. All right. I'm ready to open up for a dialogue now. If nobody want to dialogue, we can cut the recording.
Yeah, I don't really see nobody joined in tonight. I pinged a whole bunch of people, so
it's all good, my brother. It might be one of them nights, you know. It might have been just something for the people in the room to hear.
Yeah, I got something out of it. That's incredible right there. I never delved into the Apocrypha like that, because, you know, like I said, the people who I was learning with, they always talk, down on they didn't talk down on the Apocrypha, but they just said, they don't believe that it's authoritative, so there's no real reason to get anything out of it. But that's incredible right there, what you just read.